I'm having my one.
Right, before we start this episode proper, we actually discussed Legacy of You when I backed it way back in episode 5, back in 2022. So here is a short clip from that episode. This is something I've not spoken to the guys about, and they always say it's better to seek forgiveness than permission. So. A raging river, it is flooding. Ooh. And there's bandits on the prowl. Ooh. We must protect our precious village. Ooh. Whilst building a canal. The campaign is there, self-balancing, no matter how I do. The legacy of you.
Well done.
All Otto.
Definitely at least 3 out of 10.
I'm really sorry. So, number 2, Legacy of You.
That's
by
staying in.
Garfield
Every
Games.
minute of that is staying in.
Well, I've got the other 7 verses if you need.
No.
It's just finishing on Kickstarter. It is a solo-only game, 60 minutes per game. I've talked about prices in the other one. I've backed this one, so this was £1.50 on the Kickstarter. It's sort of a deck bag buildy worker placement game set where there's flooding in from the rivers, and this guy has been tasked with building canals whilst protecting the rivers and the little town from bandits and stuff. It's a campaign game. You play it over multiple games through a story mode, which adds as you go, and you play until you win or lose 7 games. In-depth stories, great artwork, and again, it's fully resettable, so you can play the campaign multiple times, and they say that you can have a different campaign each time you play, or as you say, box it up and give it to a friend. So yeah, Legacy of You. Backed it, looks great, can't wait. Welcome back, solo gamers. Today we're travelling back to ancient China. The Yellow River is raging, the floods are deadly, and the previous guy in charge of fixing it, well, let's just say his 9 years of building dams didn't exactly work out. Now it's your turn. Today on the show, we are looking at The Legacy of You, designed by Shem Phillips and published by Garfield Games. You are stepping into the shoes of You the Great. Your job? Construct a series of canals to divert the surging river, keep your growing village alive, and fend off the neighbouring barbarian tribes before you get completely washed away. Legacy of You is a strictly solo-only, fully resettable, non-linear campaign game. You aren't just playing a one-off session, you're playing a series of games where the story unfolds, and new gameplay elements are introduced through a specialised story deck. The entire campaign wraps up as soon as you either win 7 games or lose 7 games. And don't worry about getting stuck. The game features a brilliant self-balancing system. Win a game and the next one gets a little harder. Lose a game and the game grants you a boon to help you out next time. So what are you actually doing on the board? Gameplay is a tight blend of resource management, worker placement and deck management. You start with a deck of townsfolk cards. Playing these cards give you resources such as wood, clay, provisions, shells and coloured worker meeples. You'll use these resources to construct buildings, hire more townsfolk, fight off barbarians, and most importantly, build the canal sections. The tension in Legacy of You comes from a relentless march of time, represented by a flood token moving left to right across the board, and the barbarians are amassing on the top. You must successfully build all the way to the final canal section and survive until the end of the current round without triggering a loss. However, there are 3 different ways the game can crush you. If the flood token ever reaches an unbuilt section of canal or washes off the board, you're underwater and lose. If 7 barbarian cards are in play at the top of the board, your village is overrun. You lose. And if you take damage and are required to destroy a townsfolk card, but your deck is completely empty, meaning no one left is to defend the village, you lose. It's fast, it's tense, and it perfectly balances strategic resource crunching with a captivating historical narrative. But does it hold up over a 14 game campaign? Tom, you're 10 games in? 10-ish games in?
Bit less than that, I think.
9 games in? You can see where
Yes,
this is going, right?
I think a few less, a few less.
7 games in?
Yeah, thereabouts. No, no, because there are only um like seven in total, aren't there?
Well,
No, eight in
there's
total. Eight,
there's 7 wins and 7
seven
losses.
wins.
So
Yeah,
if you drag it all the way out,
I'm six in because I keep winning.
yeah,
So sorry, this is that game that I've been looking for,
that's good.
where I lost the first game and then yeah, I've won the next five. So it has done that thing of kind of presenting the challenges, but in
Just not
theory make it
challenging
more difficult.
enough.
It's not challenging in me enough. My big brain is finally kicking into gear.
Oh well, I dragged it out a lot more than that because I seem to really alternate between winning and losing, and then picked up right at the end and won a few on the trot.
After I won three in a row, I genuinely opened up the rule book and had another look to make sure I wasn't getting something wrong because I didn't quite believe myself that I could win three of these games in a row. So
I am shocked.
you should be. I was. I was. The game though is it's such a nice puzzle. I think that's one of the things that I've enjoyed the most about playing it is that it has the goodness, as you were saying, of the kind of the resource management and what I would describe as finger in the dam stuff of making sure that you're stopping all of the things at the same time. Very appropriate with the flooding
Yeah, really good.
theme, right? I'd love to say I prepared that, but I didn't. Uh, but it's got lots of those really good things about where it is best to spend your resources and feeling like you've got some good agency of making the decisions to get the outcome that you're aiming for, right? Whether you just spend those resources on that turn, which means you maybe couldn't do as much as if you waited, but it means that you've dealt with the flood one turn ahead or whatever.
Yeah, so you've obviously like cracked this puzzle.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
No,
Go on.
no. Did you find you picked it up like as in all of the things? Because I feel like I cracked the puzzle, but it clearly took me a lot longer. So like without giving too much away for people that maybe haven't played it and want to
Yeah, it's
figure it
difficult,
out,
isn't it? Yeah.
what's like what's the one tip then with your big brain you would
Well, I would, with my giant brain, would suggest that the the thing to focus on, as it is in so many of these games, is action economy. And
yeah.
so, how can you create a world where you've got more actions? That's be my top tip. And that is the one thing that has been on my mind a little bit about this game, is that, and again, this made me look at the rules to make sure I wasn't doing it wrong, is I think once you've worked it out, I certainly haven't found it difficult to win a game afterwards, which is a bit of a shame because I think once you've worked out what that thing is, you have always got enough resources to do everything you want to do. It doesn't mean that the game is then pointless or doesn't have any interest in it at all, but it just suddenly becomes a lot easier. Because the first time I played it, and I was just sort of chucking stuff at the wall to see what sticks. I just ran out. I just couldn't do everything sort of quickly enough. The barbarians were building up, and the flood was sort of coming across the board, and um, I was just sort of churning through cards, and it you just can't do everything quickly enough. But then as soon as you kind of worked out that thing that, okay, that's what it is, it has taken the edge off it. That's made it a little bit less interesting for me. Is that there's still a nice puzzle. I maintain that I said before, that it's still a nice puzzle to work through, but
Yeah.
it's a little bit like playing a Sudoku, I think, which I will flag. I freaking hate Sudoku. It's so boring to me. Um, because it kind of feels like the outcome is determined. It's not that there's really a way in which I can lose this. It's more becomes about, yeah, and as I'm saying, I guess somebody would respond to say, well, aren't all games a bit like this? But it's about the answer is there. You just got to kind of play it through and do, work it out as what the way it is to achieve that. Um, and one of the things that I was expecting to happen is what you said, is that the challenges as you've got this really great mechanic in there with the storybook that adds cards from a deck of about 70 cards nearly, I think, to try and make it easier or more difficult depending on how you're doing, responding to what you're doing, which is brilliant. But it just haven't found it's made it difficult enough. And I really don't think that I just know I'm not that good at board games. This isn't that I'm just this genius that actually has worked it all out. I think, unfortunately, it. I'm not going to go so far as to say it breaks the game, but when you've worked that out, none of the things that I've hit against in the 5 wins on the trot that I've had have been more difficult. I think it's okay to kind of talk about it in loose sense of the kind of things that it challenges you to do, right? Is that it gives you more difficult barbarians to deal with. It gives you side quests, if you like, that you have to complete at the same time, which if you don't do it, you fail the mission. Um,
So that's
but
what got me early on was
right,
that there was one where you had to give some meat or fish or
exactly, yeah.
yeah. And that's where I ran out of actions was having
Was because
finding
you
the
need to
right
sort of
card that
surrender
happened.
cards
Yeah.
to do it, right? Those cards are out of your game for that round or for that game,
For
right?
that game, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I just got extremely lucky at the right moment, and that has meant that I had got good cards going through the deck at the right time that made those things easier. There's always a bit of luck in these things where you're shuffling up the
yeah.
different cards that are coming through. And I know that in the game, I think 1 or 2 games ago, it introduced some new barbarian cards that were much more difficult to deal with in theory, but purely through the luck of the shuffle, they didn't come out until a couple of rounds later in that particular game I was having. And so I didn't have to deal with it when I didn't have many resources, because that's what I found in my games, is that at the beginning of the game you are quite constrained. You haven't got much of the engine built at that point. You've got a few resources to use. And so yeah, if you did get really the wrong barbarian coming out at that point, it'd be very difficult to deal with it, I think.
Yeah. So in terms of the resources, you've got these with we'll get onto it in a minute maybe, but some beautiful artwork.
Yeah.
But you've got these like multi-use cards. So when you get them into the market, which is kind of the top left of the board, you can purchase them for food and they go into your deck. Or you can just kind of sack them off for an instant, because once they go into your deck, they gotta go into your discard, so you've got to shuffle to get them out. Or you can just like sack them off and you
You get
know,
extra, right?
and you get an immediate bonus of something.
Mm.
But also, once they're in your deck, you can choose to tuck them under the bottom of the board once you've unlocked these little houses, and then they will give you start of round ongoing bonuses. But the cards are limited, aren't they? So, depending on what happens with defeating barbarians, or as you repair different parts of the canal, then you have to throw cards away. And then suddenly what's in your hand is getting smaller and smaller. So you're needing to, to kind of keep on top of all
And
that.
every time you cycle through that deck, that's the mechanic that moves the flood forward,
Yeah.
right? As you're saying. So
Yeah. So if you don't have a lot of cards in your deck because you've tucked them or binned them off for an immediate resource, then you're going to be bringing that flood quicker and quicker, aren't you?
but I think that's the other thing that I found in playing it so far is that don't kind of worry about churning through those villages, is that getting them for the bonus resources and putting others into your deck in a kind of balanced way. So
Yeah.
you have these different types of workers that are represented by different color meeples, right? And making sure your deck is reasonably balanced with the sort of ones that you're getting. And so you get, easily 12, 16 cards in that deck, and there's ones that you're just churning through. And so prioritizing your food to get those is another thing that seems to have worked out really well for me when I've done it. And I think in my first game I was a bit afraid of, oh, I don't want to churn through those cards too much, but it really doesn't matter because you get through them as long as you're keeping an eye on the barbarians that they're not taking up too many of those market spaces that, as you said, ultimately lose the game if they essentially take over that whole market space. Um, you're fine kind of just churning through because you get through that deck, you just shuffle them up and then you go again. Right.
Yeah, and it does feel really good. And I think that kind of planning and working out, right, what on this turn as part of the wider puzzle, before you've like done anything, it's like, right, what am I going to do now? And then it feels really good to like, right, well, I can swap this color meeple for this color meeple, and then with that, I can use that to defeat a barbarian, which gets me something, and then I can build this, and that lets me unlock that, and then
Yeah.
you just get this little chain, this little engine going, and it like clicks through, and it just feels so satisfying.
Did you find yourself at times having more workers than you could do stuff with though?
Yes, sometimes.
Like, I'm only every now and like every now and again
Yeah,
you'll have two, three more meeples than you can place.
yeah. Occasionally, I would have that issue. Um, I'd always try and sort of sack them off to defeat the barbarians. But then on top of that, you're then having to pay the food to, you've got to pay your food to go and fight the barbarians,
Yeah.
your supplies. And so sometimes I didn't have enough food. Sometimes I found I had an excess of those little shells, which were like the little currency
Yeah.
almost. Um,
Yeah, I actually several times have had so many of those. I've had to do some quick resource swaps to be able to get the ones that I need.
yeah.
Uh, which which again it's not a problem, but I've sort of struck me as a bit odd a couple of times. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a massive deal, but it was a little bit odd. I thought that you just had so many resources, you didn't kind of quite know what to do with them.
I found because there's like a exchange mechanic
Yeah, sure.
that actually
You never got stuck with it, right?
no.
Coming back to the what I was saying before about kind of working out the puzzle, did you get to that point as well? You said it took you a bit longer for whatever reason. You must have been drinking that day or something. But
Who knows?
what once you worked out the puzzle, did you find the same thing that none of the missions after that were that tricky?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of flipped really between winning one or two, losing one or two,
Really?
and
Okay.
then and
Again, it
then
just makes me think I'm getting a rule wrong. Because
no, you're just clearly much smarter than me.
no, because
But
I know this isn't true.
maybe this is it. Maybe this is your game. But then I found like the last three, I just like cracked through really quickly.
Right, okay, fine, 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 fine. Because that has been my experience.
Yeah, and it did click, and I was like, right, I got this, and just boom, 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 I'm fine. But I don't think it took away from the enjoyment. And what was really nice is as you either do things on cards or when you complete a mission, then there's a little book, isn't there, with a paragraph
Storybook, yeah.
or
Mm.
to read, and it's like, oh, now this is happening, and you know, I I really enjoyed those because it's it's story driven, but it's not the complexity of, let's say, War Story,
No.
where you've got these deep immersive bits of text. But I found it was just enough just to keep that level of
Yeah,
interest and,
definitely.
like, oh, I get to read the next bit, and
Yeah, and some of the cards when you get rid of those, right, gives you a little bit to read out. And there's nice moments there where you get that little bit of the story, and maybe it's that there's then a fierce looking barbarian who then gets added, or a monkey was one of the recent ones for me that I got a little monkey
I
card
really like the monkey. He was my favorite.
that you get that card out of the deck, and then that is in the deck of barbarians or the deck of villager cards to use. So those are all quite nice moments, right?
Yeah, and I guess I think we've played it too far apart to really have that like comparing on each mission. But because you will draw different cards at different times, unlock different things,
Mm.
that you could sit down and play it again, and you might not come across a couple of those unlocks. They
Sure,
might not
sure, sure.
just get shuffled through. Um, for me, I don't feel the need to play it again.
Right, I was just going to ask, would you play it again?
So, however much I enjoyed it, I've got a big stack, an ever increasing stack of solo games or games that can be played solo that I want to play solo that
Mm.
I haven't played yet.
Yeah,
And maybe in 25 years' time, or whenever I've finally got through those pile of games without buying new ones, I might then come back to it. But I don't feel the need. I feel like I got it, I completed it, I had a really nice
and I
time.
don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No,
That experience of like you go and watch a film or something or whatever is that you have that experience, go to a
yeah.
gig, you'll have that experience and that's it. You don't need to relive it again and again and again, right?
Yeah, there are certain
Like
films
don't
that
be
you
that
won't.
person who's there with their phone just videoing the gig all the way through so they can never watch it back again and not really experience it while they're there, right?
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
same thing is fine for board games. You get it, you have that experience, you pay your money, you sell it on, give it away, let someone else play it.
yeah. I don't have an issue with that. And then I guess that's a nice thing about this game because there was a real surge. So this came out it kickstarted at the end of 2022.
Right.
And it was kind of on the back of that big wave of loads of legacy games. But pandemic being,
They're all over the place, right? Yeah.
you know,
Everyone
but
wanted to do a campaign game.
but I guess the issue, and I've said it before, but the issue I have with those campaign games is because you physically are destroying cards or like the games are not resettable,
A-
which
and you need to have the same group to play it with, right?
yes, yeah, yeah. Um, but it's not very eco-friendly then. I understand that from a board games company point of view, well, you don't want them passing it on. You want everyone else buying another copy of the game.
Mm.
But yeah, finding time to play these long campaign games. And then at the end, essentially, you've just got a box and
Yeah.
yeah, I understand you can usually play the final state as many times as you like. But
I think those have phased out a little bit though,
they
those
they
type
really
of
have.
legacy ones, right? The campaign's still very much around, but the ones where you're really truly destroying stuff, they're
But
not
this
there.
legacy option, I think, is really clever. And then at the end of your campaign, like Stalingrad and other things like that, you can just take all of the bits and pieces and put it back, and you've got
Yeah.
the game as it was at the
Completely
start.
resettable. Yeah.
Um, which I think is great. Is much more eco-friendly as well. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
and the other nice thing about having a solo campaign is you're right, is finding the time to complete. You and I have got a game of Stalingrad going that's
Been
what
doing
got
that
to
for
be
about
coming
three
on a
years
couple
now,
of
right?
years now, yeah. Seb and I have got a game of Stalingrad that's been going on for a year or so. Um, I mean, I'm actually fine with it, but I got Elijah a couple of years ago, Zombie Kids Evolution, and there's still that works slightly differently, but there's still a couple of things we've not unlocked from that game, and
It is difficult. And I'm perhaps slightly envious of people who have been able to find a game that four, five people, whatever it is, are happy to play that again over and over and over again through their weekly gaming group, and everyone being okay with that. I'm
yeah,
slightly
but
envious of
I
that.
think both of us in our game style is there's always like I don't want to play, even if it's changing, I don't want to play the same game over and over again. And
Right.
actually, when I was playing RPGs, I would only do like 6 week campaigns. You know, there are
Cheers.
some
Right.
people that have been with their same RPG group for the
Right.
last 5 years, and they're
No, completely.
doing doing that same campaign. Whereas I think like for me, I want to go and do other. Yeah,
Yes, but I've quite enjoyed times where I have played the same game like 2, 3 weeks. Hasn't really happened very much. I think we've done 2 weeks on our Wednesday night group fairly regularly, but we've got, for example, a heat pedal to the metal campaign going at the moment. I think it's 4 races. We've done 3 races so far. And that's been over 2 weeks. But the last one of those was easily a month, 6 weeks ago, and we're probably just not going to finish it.
yeah,
Um, I don't mind doing that in the short bursts. I know like there's some people who had the same D&D game going for 50 years or something like that. It's absolutely not that. But being able to have something where you do collectively go through that campaign of something together would be great. We did that or tried to do it a little bit with Betrayal on the House on the Hill, the Legacy Betrayal, whatever the hell that game was called. But it was just not one that enough of our group enjoyed sufficiently to do it. And I sort of wanted to persevere a bit to kind of just see it through, but it was 13 missions or something like that, um, and just not really enough of us enjoying the game enough to make it
no,
worthwhile. And I think that's the tricky bit is that with a diverse group of people's interests and with all the games, right, it is very difficult to do that. Anyway, gosh, just a bit of a tangent. But campaign games, yeah, absolutely. Campaign games, to your point, when they are solo campaign games, love it because that just works perfectly, doesn't it?
yeah. Okay. So artwork. So Shem Phillips is the designer. Sam Phillips, his brother, is the artist. He's done loads of stuff. It's a real like distinctive art style, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and love it. I think the art that you see through all of those games from of the West Kingdoms of your South to Tigris, all of those, whatever they are, that style is so attractive to look at. It's
Yeah.
so well done, and this is just a prime example of it. The box for those on the YouTube is not going to maybe appear with the background, but just look at that there. It's so flipping good, that isn't it? And now it's just putting into the background. But
Yeah, and like
have a look on
the
BGG if you're just listening to this. That artwork is great, and that goes all the way through. It's not just the box art; it goes all the way through to the cards and the board. Right? It's brilliant.
and each card is unique. So every barbarian card has
Mostly unique. I think I've seen there are a few duplicates, but they were twins. It's fine. It's fine.
yeah, that's all right.
They
Um
are unique, but unique twins.
yeah. But yeah, you know, the time to draw all of those separate people, whereas so many games it'd be like generic barbarian with the different
Yeah,
so maybe
they've
three
taken the time to do that.
yeah.
Right? Yeah, yeah, really good. Yeah, no complaints about that. It's
For
just
but
stunning.
again, also what is not a particularly expensive game. Um,
No, it's like so many of theirs. It comes in these beautiful small box style. Well, actually, it's the South Tigris stuff. Tigris. Is it Tigris or Tigris?
Tigris.
Who knows? Um,
Tigris was from Winnie the Pooh, wasn't he? Sorry.
maybe. But these, what the like. 8-inch square boxes. They're really, really nice kind of
They look
size for the shelf as well, and they're very tight, kind of like tidy games and the way the components and everything that are presented in there.
and this box is designed really nicely because there's just like a little plastic top insert,
Yeah.
and all your components are there. And I found it really weird because actually, when you look in the manual, it's like put your pile of seashells here and put your. It's like no, you've got the box. Just get it out the box. Like I never unpacked the box. I just maybe you did, but yeah, I just left everything in the box and just because everything's in its own little compartment tray.
Yes, I think yeah, there is a bit inside baseball that the listeners don't need to necessarily hear what I did with this box. But yeah, sure.
No, come on, I want to hear what you did now.
Well, it's just purely that it's just it's so dull. This they were in little bags when you when you posted it to me. They were in little bags and they've stayed in little bags. And I've always wondered and meant to ask you, why didn't you take it out and put it in all the different bits? You obviously did, just not for the postage. So there
Yeah,
we are, the dullest anecdote that we've had on
okay.
this most
So,
tedious of podcasts.
so have you been putting everything back in the baggies every time?
Yeah.
No, it was purely because because knowing what Royal Mail is like when you go,
Yeah,
yeah,
shake, shake, shake.
yeah, absolutely. But no, everything just lived nicely in the trays as they were supposed to, and
That's funny.
there were no baggies involved.
When, okay.
I used my extra baggies from my baggie collection because I'm that sad.
One other thing about the insert though is that it as part of the campaign game, you're going to be putting cards in different areas as you go through it. Very simple, but done very nicely with a clear insert
Yeah,
for the box. It's then printed that these are the it calls them the history cards, are ones that you've kind of used and out of your campaign as you're cycling through stuff. Here's how to put here's where you put the huts and the river cards. Here are your additional setup cards. Here's the barbarian cards. So it labels all that everything nicely as well, which you don't always get in a board game box. No, some people might think, well, is that really noteworthy? I think for real board gamers, I think it is because when you're getting a game and you're trying to unpack stuff, as you say about the components, it tells you where to put all those, but also making it really clear that that's the segment for these cards, that's the
yeah,
segment for these cards. That's great, and that is as simple as just an inside printed box and a plastic insert,
I know.
see-through plastic insert.
What maybe we need to do a whole episode on what games do inserts well. And when I unboxed Mage Knight, right, I got everything out and I was like, oh, well, where does all of this go? Because nothing kind of made sense. So I was like, I'll tell you what, there'll be some nerds online that know exactly where it goes, and there'll be pictures and all of this stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
every form you go on to, all it says is like, right, if you want to arrange your Mage Knight with any kind of sense, buy a separate insert and use that. Because it's as if like the ones that came with the box just don't like nothing properly fits. So you have to like split some tokens
Yeah,
or
that is
something.
pretty
Just
annoying. Yeah.
yeah, it's really rubbish. Anyway, so really nice insert. Before we bore our listeners too much more,
Yeah, too much. Yeah, more.
why don't we get on to the scores? Now, I'm guessing by we might have a slight difference of opinion, which is always good because difference of opinions
We
are fine
celebrate it.
and welcome. And I will just cut yours and give mine, and then that'll be it.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, Thomas,
Well, I've actually really struggled with this score. I think that I just can't, I haven't been able to quite work out whether I feel it's a massive problem that means I should mark the score down, in that I've kind of been able to figure the game out. Again, still slightly convinced I've got a rule wrong somewhere. But it has taken away from the enjoyment factor a little bit, is that because the game has stopped being challenging. In the last game I had, that sixth game, I'd already played. A few of these in a row. We didn't really talk about that very much, and it's it's something that I think actually I play too many games in a row of this. Um, and on that last game, I thought, "Ah, can I be bothered to do this one? Or should I just pack it away and then no, I won't play this again for several weeks at least? Or should I just do one more and get that much closer to finishing the campaign? And I think that probably then has kind of led my score a little bit of that thought of like, oh, I'm not excited to get this out again. And
Okay.
I think those are the kind of the overall memories of playing it. I will complete it. I think in theory I've only got two missions left to go. So as long as I
Well,
keep winning.
unless you have a sort of a
Can you
losing.
imagine now? Just get this absolute tanking of results. Um, I've given it a 7.8 because
Okay.
it's good. I've enjoyed it. It looks fantastic. Their campaign is simple. It's interesting. It's fun to play. There's a nice little puzzle there, but it just doesn't quite get up to the really good scores for me, which is 8 is what marks it as being really something I've enjoyed a lot because of what I described, which again could be my fault of getting a rule wrong. I just don't know. So yeah, 7.8.
No, I think that actually sounds like, a very good score and was much higher than I was expecting.
I have
Uh,
enjoyed it. I have enjoyed it.
I think it's a very, very good game. And so after commenting that, oh, we're going to be quite far
Funny if you
apart.
gave it a lower score now.
So I think you're right. I think it is once you kind of got it, it is one of the easier solo games. And I think that if you're going to if you're going to play a solo game, I think it needs to be hard.
Yeah.
However, this one is very fun. It's nice and bright and colorful, and set up and stuff is nice and simple. Pack down is nice and simple. Yeah, it just kind of works. And so for me, I've actually just given it an 8.
Oh, okay.
I think
Very
it does.
close.
It's a run seal game. It does what it says on the tin. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Yeah, so that gives us an overall podcast score of 7.9,
Nine.
probably. I
Yeah.
haven't really.
I think that's what the math says.
Yeah. Yeah. 7.9, yeah. There we go.
Come on, Paul. We didn't need to do the calculator for that. Come on. If you had a long day.
Oh, it's been so long. It's that thing of I know it's been doing the rounds on the internet, but I don't mind if anyone looks at my internet history. I just hope they don't look at my calculator history. So yeah, overall, I would say we would recommend this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that is it for this episode. Just a quick reminder that we have an affiliate link code in the description of this. So if you are planning on going out and buying some games, maybe Legacy of You, maybe something else, if you want to shop at Chaos Cards, click on the link below. It does nothing for you, but we get a little bit of money. That little bit of money helps us pay for the podcast. Otherwise, we'll just keep paying for it ourselves. So really, what I'm saying is do whatever you want, and we'll just carry on doing the podcast anyway. So thank you very much for listening, and we will catch you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I'm having my one.